Welcome to the first ever Tuesday talk of the Life's Playbook podcast. Got a lot in today's topics of discussions. I'll dive into those after I briefly or fully break down what exactly the Tuesday talk is, how it's going to be used to pave the way forward for some bigger and greater things that I have in store for my show, and what today's topics and discussions will be. Now, that being said, let's get into today's first Tuesday talk of the Life's Playbook podcast. Again, if you're new to the channel, I highly encourage that you like and subscribe. It is greatly appreciated, and as always, it helps my channel grow and elevate to new heights, to new levels. With that being said, if you did not get a chance to watch the end of my recent episode that came out just this past Sunday, I briefly talked about something new that I was doing for the show. Something new that's going to pave the way for some greater, bigger things for the show. So, essentially what a Tuesday talk is it's not going to be the same. It's not, I predict this is going to happen, I predict that's going to happen. It's not going to be predictions, it's not going to be recaps, it's not going to be previews or reviews or any of that. I'll save all of that for the episodes. Not saying that the Tuesday talk isn't considered an episode, but the title and whatnot, it's not going to be it's not directly an episode. It's its own different thing. Still relevant to the podcast, and again, it's going to pave the way for greater and bigger things that I have in store throughout the year as the podcast grows, but it's not directly an episode of the podcast. It's a discussion, essentially. This is me wanting to know your guys' thoughts on whatever the discussion topic may be or whatever drama has occurred recently, which brings me to my next point on what it actually is, what it's actually going to be, and what the content for a Tuesday talk is actually going to be. So, I said it's not going to involve any recaps, previews, reviews, any of that. That's all for the episodes and whatnot. Instead, this is going to be a little more news related, a little more narrative based. It's going to be a little deeper, a little bit of a deeper drive. It's going to be more about maybe some drama going on with a specific player or a specific team from, say, the NBA or the NFL or a college team in the college football world. It's going to be more based on maybe some drama going on with like a sports network like Get Up or First Take or FS1, those sports channels that get those sports shows that get a lot of a big audience, big media, which brings me to the discussion of there are actually two topics of today's Tuesday talk that I thought of sharing and wanting to know your guys' thoughts. One of them, you could argue, is a little late, seeing as that game is past and over with, but that is essentially what a Tuesday talk is. It's not going to be the same old predictions and reviews and previews and whatnot. It's going to be a little more deeper. It's going to be more narrative based. It's going to be a little more drama centric, a little more newsy, like a news show. That's pretty much what a Tuesday talk is in short summary. It's the news aspect of the Life's Playbook podcast, the news aspect of my show. With that being said, there's a lot of juicy news out there, and there's a lot of hot stories going on out there. More specifically, two topics. The first topic, if you haven't kept up already with the recent drama in Fox Sports 1, a popular, renowned sports TV show, there have been some lawsuits and some allegations being thrown towards specific hosts of that show. Those hosts being Skip Bayless. If you've ever watched Undisputed, he was on that show for a very long time, had some very interesting takes, and he just recently moved over to FS1. He's the first party in the allegations, and the second party, that being Joy Taylor, who has climbed the ranks in sports shows and sports channels for what we believe as of right now to be a specific reason, which I will break down once I actually get the talk going. So that's the first topic of today's Tuesday talk. Second topic of today's Tuesday Talk. There's some recent comments from Jimmy Butler, the Miami Heat, and Tyreek Hill, the Miami Dolphins. Both phenomenal athletes, both great, amazing star athletes, potential Hall of Fame athletes at best. We're going to have a little discussion about those two athletes and my thoughts on where they could head on down the line because they are not happy where they're at. And we're going to have a brief discussion about the recent allegations with FS1. Now, before I begin, nothing specifically about the allegations. Nothing is really definite right now. Nothing is really set in stone. Nobody's been fired yet. Nobody's been stepped down yet. There have just been some names that have been thrown out there that have been involved in this lawsuit, and there have been some accusations and some ongoing problems at FS1 that have been covered up under the sun. So nobody's actually been fired. Nobody's faced any fines yet. Nobody's, as far as the people are concerned and know of, nobody's faced any trials yet. These are all just allegations, and they're just some names being thrown into the fire. I'm going to break down some names that I think have absolutely zero connection to the FS1 drama, and some names that might have some bigger connections to this, and what might actually happen to those individuals. With that being said, welcome to the first ever Tuesday Talk. Let's get into it, starting with topic number one, the Fox Sports drama, and how that came to be, and where did this lawsuit exactly come from, and what it has in store for the individuals involved. Let's get into it. So, all of the information that I am citing right now, you can find this on obviously any sports website. Read any sports articles out there. This is the newest of the newest hot topic drama that's been out there. This is fresh off the grill, you could say. So, Fox Sports, Skip Bayless, Charlie Dixon, and Joy Taylor. Those are the three major parties involved in this lawsuit, have been named in a lawsuit including sexual battery. Now, from my understanding, because I'm a young kid, and I'm big in the world of social media, and I've already heard some pretty big takes from some big names, some big shows out there, like the Stephen A. Smith show. I watched his live stream last night on YouTube. Great show. I watch it every time he goes live. He had some words to say about the lawsuit and his stance on the lawsuit. Cap, hosted by Chad Ochocinco, former Hall of Fame talent, wide receiver from the Cincinnati Bengals, and Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe, tight end, most formerly known with the Denver Broncos. And they had some things to say because Shannon Sharpe's name was raised a lot in the allegations as far as his relations with host Joy Taylor, and to nobody's surprise, he obviously declined the allegations and declined his name from being a part of that beef. He says he has no recollection of anything that's going on. He's not involved whatsoever. And to my knowledge and to my personal opinion, I think he's got nothing to worry about. He's got nothing to lose. He's just doing what he's doing. He merely works there at First Take. Now, back to the parties here. The allegations were brought up by a Fox Sports hairstylist. Her name is Nosheen Faraji. She was employed at Fox Sports from 2012 through this past August and worked on several FS1 series, including Undisputed, before its cancellation. First reported by Front Office Sports Sunday afternoon, the 42-page lawsuit alleges 14 counts against the plaintiffs. The suit claims that over Faraji's decade at Fox, she dealt with misogynistic, racist, and ableist workplace that allowed for executives and talent to physically and verbally abuse workers with impunity. Continuing on. When Ms. Faraji and others came forward to report the wrongdoing, instead of addressing their concerns, Fox retaliated against them, while the perpetrators and those who protected them were inexplicitly promoted. This case thus represents yet another in a long line of cases chronicling the toxic culture at Fox Sports, marked by bad faith promises and repeated failures to address a poisonous and entrenched patriarchy, the lawsuit thus reads. Now, this is all right off the fresh off the grill, hot topic drama. Now, I personally have never I've just seen the clips from Undisputed from when it was around. I see the clips from First Take, and I watch First Take occasionally. I think everybody on that show and everybody that works on that show to make it the show that it is, I think everybody there is safe for the most part, and I think it's a good show overall if you have the time to watch a full session. In my case, I don't. I just watch, the little bits and clips that come out on Insta and TikTok and whatnot. Because again, I personally am big in the social media world. So I'm around this, I hear this kind of stuff, and I see this kind of stuff, and I watch this kind of stuff. Now, as far as, Miss Faraji goes, I never nobody's really heard of this woman until of recent, obviously, with the recent allegations. As far as my thoughts with her go, I hope that she can win this lawsuit, and if she takes it to a federal level, that the right people get brought into question and that the right people are held accountable for their actions. As far as the reputation as Fox goes, it's not very. This is quite big. If you're a sports person or if you're in the sports line of some sort, this is very big. Big news in the sports world. As many of us know that have been around sports and watch sports a lot, if you do, sports is one of those big monopolies with a lot of big monopoly sports shows. Again, that being Undisputed and First Take and Morning FS1. It's got a lot of popular shows and a lot of popular people and hosts run those shows. But I will say that this drama here could change a lot of that. A lot of these people could step down again. Nobody's faced any serious consequences. Been nobody's been thrown the book yet. Nobody's been fined yet. These are all just he said, she said as of right now. It hasn't been taken to federal level or whatnot. Now, as far as Joy Taylor is involved with all this, she is, as far as her story goes with all this, she is being accused of relatively the same thing, except it focuses on her rise her rise to fame in the Fox Sports world. There's speculation that she slept with higher up individuals to get certain positions at Fox Sports and to be a host of certain shows. Again, it's just a speculation. I don't know if these speculations are true or not. She hasn't come out. I don't think as of recent she hasn't come out and addressed these allegations, but they are there. There are speculations that has happened. She's slept her way to the top, essentially. I've personally, again, I've watched clips from Joy Taylor and her time on Fox FS1, Fox Sports 1. I've seen, as far as a beauty standpoint, I mean, she's not a bad looking woman. She's good looking. She's got great sports takes. Despite all the drama, I think from the clips that I've seen, she can dish out some good sports takes. She's a great host, and she's where she's at for a reason. Now, we don't know if that reason is specifically tied to this lawsuit. We don't know if the reason is because she actually does have good sports takes. That's up for the people to decide, and that's personal opinion. But that is as far as this lawsuit goes. That is as far as how she is involved. Again, just speculation that she may have slept her way to the top to get to where she was. Emmanuel Acho, who's also a name that was thrown in there as far as Joy Taylor's side of the allegation. He was thrown in there as well. Shannon Sharp was thrown in there as well. She may have had some personal relationships with those two individuals, if you may be. But again, these are all speculations. These are just names being thrown out there. Regarding Skip Bayless, His situation is a little more interesting because there might be some concrete that he tried to. So the deal with Skip Bayless was this. Apparently, word is on the street that he and Miss Faraji, he planned to hold dinner with her and whatnot. And keep in mind, Skip Bayless is a married man. He's got a wife. I don't know if he's got kids. Again, I don't know all of these people's lives from front to back. I just know the relative news that has been out. And the relative news that has been out on Skip Bayless and his involvement with this lawsuit is that he has done some inappropriate behaviors with Miss Faraji in the dress room before show rehearsals and before the show aired. He apparently invited her out. There's word on the street that he invited her out to dinner one time, and there's word at the street that he offered her 1.5 million to sleep with him. Again, I can't stress this enough that these are all just he said, she said. It's just an allegation as of right now. Nobody's faced any severe consequences. These are all just speculations, but that is the word on the street as far as Skip Bayless and his involvement with Miss Faraji. Miss Faraji has been his hairstylist for quite some time, from what I've heard and seen, and now she's finally bringing all of the red flags about Skip Bayless to light. Those red flags that may have been overshadowed by his very wild sports takes. I'll say that much. They were wild. I've seen a lot of his sports takes from the 2012 days. I've seen when he was on Undisputed. I've seen a lot of his sports takes, and I will tell you they were not good. Some of them were not good at all. So, as far as Skip Bayless as a person, I don't know him personally. I just know that this is happening to him. I know that this is happening to Joy Taylor. Again, Joy Taylor she's a stunning woman. I think anybody can agree that Joy Taylor is a stunning woman. If you watch the shows that she's on and the work that she does, she is candy to the eye. But we cannot ignore the fact that these things are happening and have been brought up to light. Now, as far as Fox Sports as a whole goes, as a monopoly goes, and where the future might lay with Fox Sports and reputations and whatnot, if the lawsuit stands and Miss Faraji takes this to bigger heights and the names get brought to light, like Charlie Dixon, apparently he's a CEO that Joy Taylor slept with. That's another word on the street that he's one of the big dudes that helped Joy Taylor's rise in the Fox Sports industry. He's one of the big names that was thrown out there as well that is a suspect of doing inappropriate deeds with Joy Taylor to get her to where she's at. But anyways, if these are all true and the names that were thrown in there face severe consequences, their reputations will suffer greatly. Their reputations will fall greatly. Fox Sports as a whole will take a big backlash from the people and from its workers. It also says here in this article, again, I'm reading this from sportsbusinessjournal.com. Again, you can pretty much find the basic evidence that's out now on any news site, website, any news article. But it says here, these are just some other names. Again, Charlie Dixon. Faraji also claims Charlie Dixon, head of content for FS1, touched her inappropriately and whatnot, and some other big names that were out there. The president and COO of Fox Sports, Mark Silverman, and CEO and executive producer Eric Shanks, their names haven't been brought up yet, but the lawsuit said the duo could be added to legal action following discovery as this case moves forward. So, that is the first topic of today's Tuesday Talk. Again, I don't know any of these individuals. I have watched a lot of these individuals as far as like watching clips, again, from their famous shows that they host and the shows that they are on and the sports takes that they give. And I can say that I think some of their sports takes from some of these individuals are pretty good, and then you got Skip Baylesses that have pretty wild takes. So as far as their actual work goes, it's up to preference. It's up to opinion. You think this person is a good radio host or not, or a good co-host or host or not. But it is no secret that this is the hot topic in the sports world that's going on with a very big company. Fox Sports is a very big company, and they have a lot of shows that are being run by these individuals that are being brought to light. And it is no secret that the people know, and it is no secret that you all should know as well if you aren't keeping up with the recent allegations and following up with the recent news that has come out. With that being said, let's move on to topic number 2. Again, Jimmy Butler and Tyreek Hill. Jimmy Butler is a very popular, very big NBA player. He's still currently on the Miami Heat. And Tyreek Hill, one-time Super Bowl champion, he departed ways with the Kansas City Chiefs to chase the bag to go to Miami. He's very, very popular and a very good football player in the NFL. He's one of my favorite receivers. But it is no secret that both of these star athletes are unhappy with where they are, and they want out from where they are. Again, Jimmy Butler is still currently with the Miami Heat, and Tyreek Hill is still currently with the Dolphins. The Dolphins, as of right now, they missed the playoffs off losing to the Jets and the Broncos winning against the Chiefs. So the Dolphins, their season is over. As far as the Heat goes, they're kind of struggling as a team as of right now. But there's still a lot of NBA left to be played, so that could be turned around. And maybe Jimmy Butler is happy with where the team is at and wants to stay with the Miami Heat. And Jimmy Butler is more than capable with leading this Heat team. He's done it before in 2023 when he had that great run with the Miami Heat, and they lost in the finals to the Denver Nuggets. It was a great run, and we as fans of the NBA, we loved watching that run. Now, Tyreek Hill's story, on the other hand, is different. He, again, left the Kansas City Chiefs after winning one Super Bowl with them. He, again, wanted to chase the bag, as many of these star athletes out there in today's day and age do. They chase the bag over quality. They chase the bag over quality and over team success, which is one of the bigger problems. That in and of itself is one of the bigger problems in the sports world as a whole. It's one of the big problems with college football as well. But more specifically, going back to the Tyreek Hill situation, he left the Kansas City Chiefs after winning one Super Bowl with them to chase the bag. He went to Miami. They paid him the amount that he thought was right for him, whereas the Chiefs may have paid him a little bit less. They probably would have paid him half of what he made with Miami. And after that game with the Jets, he came out into the locker room and said, I quote, "I'm opening the door. I am out." I quote. That is what he said. That is what Tyreek Hill said. And quoting Jimmy Butler, he said in a press conference that he wants to feel joy again from playing basketball. And if that might be with a different team, so be it. These two, again, are phenomenal athletes in their respective sport. And as far as Jimmy Butler goes, for him at least, it's a little more understandable that he wants a trade out of Miami, because the team as of right now, I don't think is doing very well. And who knows, there might not be much of a future left for Jimmy Butler in Miami. But Tyreek Hill's situation, on the other hand, it's a little different, because he had an opportunity to make a legacy. He had an opportunity to be competitive. That was one of the big reasons he said he was out, because he felt like he couldn't be competitive with the Miami Dolphins. To some extent, that is true. I mean, it is Miami. I don't know what he was thinking in terms of going there. I mean, it's not like Miami was going to compete for anything in a long time. Miami has a lot of problems, and they have a question mark at the quarterback helm. I've defended Tua Tagovailoa for some time, but his gameplay, his game style, and his awareness and all of these other issues are being brought to light. And the injuries, the concussions are stacking up, and the Dolphins have a question mark at the quarterback helm as to whether he is competent enough to lead that team to a playoff win. Because right now, Tua has no playoff wins. But Tyreek Hill, come on, man. You're the same guy when you got there. You're the same guy that said he was comparable to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, 3-time Super Bowl winner with the Kansas City Chiefs, Hall of Famer by the end of his career. Great, phenomenal quarterback. You could have shared that same success, Tyreek Hill. I mean, it's not like people were pressuring you in Kansas City to leave. It's not like people in Miami were pressuring you into coming to play for Miami. I mean, I understand it's a great atmosphere. It's a great city. It's sunny. Everything is sunny side up in Miami. Who wouldn't want to be there? Who wouldn't want to be involved with that organization? But Tyreek Hill, it is no secret that you wanted out. Ask Aaron Rodgers how that went. You wanted to play for the money. You didn't want to play over the quality and over the team success. You wanted to play for the money. Ask Aaron Rodgers how that went, and you'll get your answer. And us as NFL fans know that it did not end well for Aaron Rodgers. Similar situation, he left Green Bay, chased the bag, went to the New York Jets. He felt like he was going to be the golden boy to turn that franchise around. And look at where the Jets are right now. Losing season, 10 losses, playing for the draft, and Aaron Rodgers questionable again as to whether or not he's going to return to the Jets, or if he's going to go somewhere else, or if he's just going to flat out retire. But point being, Tyreek Hill, nobody has sympathy for you. Nobody has sympathy for your decisions and what you made. Nobody has to respect the decision that you made. Honestly, you could face backlash for this decision. Now, Jimmy Butler is a different story. The team hasn't been looking great as of late. I mean, there might be some personal issues, again, in the office between Jimmy Butler and the front office for the Miami Heat, and he might want out, which is totally understandable. There are many, many teams that I think he would work great with. One of the big teams that I think he could work great with are the Cleveland Cavaliers. Not only can the Cavaliers afford him, as far as cap space-wise, but they have the players to give up for him. The Phoenix Suns, again, another team that's trying to find leadership, trying to find a culture change. It's got great athletes all around, but they're just missing that culture change. They're missing that leadership and that experience. And those are two big teams that Jimmy Butler could work out in. As far as the Memphis Grizzlies was another name that's been thrown out there. So there are teams that could work for Jimmy Butler if and when he actually decides to request a trade from the Miami Heat, because I don't think he officially requested a trade yet from the Miami Heat. But there are rumors and there are speculations that he's unhappy there. Those rumors and speculations are true. He wants out. And it's a little more understandable for him if he wants out and if he wants the bigger bag, because he brings a lot to the teams that don't have a lot. He brings a lot of experience to the teams that don't have a lot of experience. He brings a lot of toughness. He brings a lot of energy. He's a culture changer. He can work. There are teams that can work for him, that can work around him, that he works well with. So it's a little more understandable for Jimmy Butler and his situation. Whereas Tyreek Hill, it's not really understandable, because you're saying you want to be competitive. Well, you left the only team that has been competitive since you left. They haven't changed. They haven't gotten worse. In fact, you could argue they've gotten better and better and better. And they're on the verge of three-peating, for Christ's sake. They are on the verge of three-peating for the first time in NFL history. You could have been a part of that, Tyreek Hill. You could have been a part of that dynasty. You could be sitting with 3, 2, 4 Super Bowl rings right now. You could have been a Hall of Famer locked right now if you stick with the Kansas City Chiefs. But, and again, this is a bigger topic for another day, a bigger discussion for another day. One of the biggest issues with sports in today's day and age, and college football in today's day and age, and with a lot of these professional athletes in today's day and age, is they choose the money over the team success, and over career success, and over quality. They choose to chase the bag over what might be best for them. In their minds, what might be best for them is who's going to pay me the most money. To some extent, I understand, because who doesn't like making a bag? But you could have been paid probably a little less than what Miami offered you initially. You would have been paid probably a little less, but you would have had a better career. You would have had better quality success. You would have been a Hall of Famer lock if you stayed with the Kansas City Chiefs. So, Tyreek Hill, I'm speaking on behalf of anybody who's watched the Dolphins, obviously, and who's watched a lot of football, whether that be college or the NFL, who has watched you specifically. Nobody feels sympathy for you, bro. Nobody feels like, well, the Dolphins was the place to go, and they paid him all this money to be this star athlete, and he is a star athlete. I don't hate the brother. I don't. Again, he's one of my favorite receivers. Love the brother. I love watching him. But it's no secret that his choices led to where he's at, led to the position that he's at. This is the first time the man has missed the playoffs. This is, I mean, it's Miami. It's not like you were going to the Kansas City Chiefs 2.0, even though you compared to a Tagovailoa with Patrick Mahomes, which may have been a big mistake because those two are nothing alike in terms of accuracy and success and competitiveness, which you say you want to play for. Another thing that raises a question as far as Tyreek Hill's situation is where do you go? Where do the land? What are good landing spots for Tyreek Hill? I've seen some names out there. The Chargers, they're in need of a wide receiver one. All right, it's LA. Who doesn't love being in LA? They've got a lot of money there, a lot of success there. Great coach. All right, that's a good landing spot for him. Atlanta, again, great place, great stadium. Coaching is a little rocky at times. Wide receiver one is rocky at times, and we haven't really gotten a full test of Michael Penix Jr. and whether he's competent enough to lead the Falcons. The Ravens, again, Zay Flowers is down, and don't know if this is going to be a huge injury or not for him. But the Ravens are in need of a wide receiver one as of now. So there are teams that are in need of a wide receiver one, and Tyreek Hill is more than enough of a star athlete to fill that gap for the whatever team is interested in looking into him. But it is of no secret that he's not had the best season as of now. He's not had the best production. In fact, this has been the lowest production he's had all season in his career. This has been the lowest season he's had in his career, and it's a shame. You probably would have been a top-notch receiver had you stayed with the Kansas City Chiefs, but again, a lot of these star athletes now in today's day and age, they prioritize the bag over quality and team success and what might be best for their career. Again, Jimmy Butler, his situation is different. I can understand, and many sports watchers of the NBA and just sports in general can understand his situation because Miami hasn't looked the best as of late, and there are teams that he can benefit with and benefit from, and the teams can benefit from him being in that locker room. He's a sensational basketball player. He's one of my favorite basketball players. I love watching him. Again, I love watching Tyreek Hill as well, but it is of no secret that this is the path that Tyreek Hill specifically chose, and it is of no secret that these two star athletes have won it out. So, with that being said, I ask you guys, the comment section, the fans, what are your thoughts on the recent lawsuit with FS1? Will more names be brought to light? And will the people that are already being named in this lawsuit be brought to justice and be held accountable for their actions? Or will FS1 slip away with another one? As far as that goes, I think this lawsuit is great in and of the fact that it's starting to show a different picture of sports. It's starting to show a different picture with sports channels specifically. It's starting to bring some of the bigger, darker secrets to light. So I think as far as the people go and as us as fans go, we can appreciate that somebody within these big corporations is finally stepping up and bringing these bad people and the bad deeds that these people have done to, good people that work there. We can appreciate the fact that somebody is stepping up and bringing these individuals to light. They're bringing these corporate greeds, these corporate inappropriate activities to light, and it shines a different light And it's going to shine a different light on Fox Sports specifically, and it's going to shine a light on sports channels as a whole. But I think us as fans, we can appreciate that somebody is stepping up to the monopolies and they're bringing, their cases, their stories to light, because this is again, it's a big deal. Fox Sports is a big sports channel. People watch Fox Sports. People listen to Fox Sports. People watch clips on YouTube and clips on TikTok, myself included. I watch these clips and the shows sometimes, and I like some of the hosts. I love Stephen A. I love watching his show. Stephen A., if you ever see this, give me a shout out. It's always appreciated. But I love watching Stephen A. and his show. I love, Dan Orlovsky, and I love Shannon Sharp, and I love watching Nightcap. It's great. I love watching all the heated debates and seeing all the clips of the heated debates on, social media. It keeps the pot boiling. It keeps people engaged. It keeps fans engaged. Even though, it's not, some of these guys that are on these shows, they don't really have any like athletic backgrounds or anything. A lot of them do. A lot of them are former NFL stars and former NBA stars. A lot of the people on there have athletic backgrounds at the professional level and at the collegiate level. And, a lot of them don't. They just have a background in, again, broadcasting and journalism, which is great as well. And I love me personally, I love watching all the interesting heated conversations and the debates and whatnot. But now, again, with these recent allegations, again, just allegations. Nobody's been thrown the book yet. Nobody's suffered any consequences as of right now. But this lawsuit is going to pave a huge road, a huge way in how people look at Fox Sports specifically and how people view certain hosts and certain behaviors and certain shows as a whole. It's gonna pave a huge road as to how people view Fox Sports and their shows that come out with. Again, I'll still watch it. I'll still watch it for the debates and the heated conversations and the interesting takes that, again, the higher ups there have, no matter how wild they are. But it's nice to see that somebody is shining a light on some of the hidden darkness that's going on in the sports world and these big sports monopolies like Fox Sports and whatnot. It's nice to see that somebody's bringing these things to light. Because if not her, who knows? Maybe Skip Bayless could have paid somebody else 1.5 mil to sleep with him, or whatever crazy phenomenon arises over there at Fox Sports. Who knows? But it's nice. I think we as fans of the respected shows and as fans of sports in general, we can respect that somebody is bringing this to light and somebody is telling their story and they're bringing these people to justice. And I hope the right people face justice. I hope the right people face the appropriate consequences for their actions. But as of right now, these are it's just a lawsuit. It's just an allegation. It's just a bunch of he said, she said, he did this, he did that, she did that. Nobody's been brought to, as far as I know, as of right now, nobody's been thrown the book. Nobody's faced trial for anything. Nobody's been fined. Nobody's had to step down. Nobody's been fired as of yet. Now, don't get me wrong. Guys like not Shannon Sharp, guys like Emmanuel Acho and Joy Taylor and Skip, they've all been silent since these allegations have come up. They've been quiet as of recent, but they haven't faced any major consequences yet. And as far as Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler, love you, brother. I love watching you. You're one of my favorite NBA players. I hope you find a team that is willing to trade for you, and I know you could be a big difference to whatever team you go to. Tyreek Hill, I mean, again, you're one of my favorite receivers. I love watching you, but this is the path. You chose your path. You chose your path. Now, that's not saying the Chiefs aren't going to take you back if you somehow wind your way back to the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's not to say there's no time for you to revive your career. And your career's not dead. You've had a bad season. We can all agree for who you are and the talent that we as fans know you have. It's not been a good season for you, for Tyreek Hill. But again, you, Tyreek Hill, you bring a lot to these teams. I know you can help out whatever team you decide to go to, whoever trades for you, and you can be that wide receiver one. You can definitely fill the shoes for a lot of these teams that are struggling at the wide receiver position. Again, Jimmy Butler, Tyreek Hill, both two of my favorite athletes in both of their respective sports. But it's no secret that they are both unhappy with being in Miami, and they both want out. It's only a matter of time before some team in both respective sports look at these athletes and say, we need that guy. We want that guy to fill this gap. We want that guy because he brings a certain energy to the culture and he can change this locker room and he can help improve our team. But with that being said, again, fans, that whoever watches this video, and I encourage you to watch this video as well as like and subscribe if you like the conversation and you want to stay in the loop, in the mix of the podcast, and you want to help me elevate again to higher levels, higher things, higher heights. I encourage you to like and subscribe to this video and subscribe to my podcast. It is greatly appreciated. But I ask you, what do you think about all of this? What do you think about Tyreek Hill and Jimmy Butler wanting out? Is it a smart move for both of them? Is it a smart move or is it a bad move for both of them? Will the right people be brought to light in the lawsuit, or will this be swept under the rug somehow, some way? That is my question to you guys. Again, you guys are free to discuss this in the comment section below. But that has been the first ever Tuesday Talk. And this is really what the Tuesday Talk is all about. Me asking you guys inputs on certain topics. If you don't keep, again, this is for people that don't really keep up. If you haven't kept up with the recent sports news. This is really what the talk is all about. News related, narrative related. This is what you can expect moving forward. And this is going to pave the way for a lot of big things. One of those big things, I guess I'll spill with you guys now, is potentially having a professional athlete from the NBA maybe, or the NFL, or the collegiate football level come on to my show. I would love to have a professional athlete join my show. I'd love to know and have a professional athlete watch my content and get me out there. That's what this is all about. That's what this podcast is for. It's for you guys, not just for me. I'm merely here to elevate the podcast and give you guys top-notch quality content. And I hope you guys enjoy the content. It's only going to get better from here. But that is one of the major usages of the Tuesday Talk. It's to help pave the way for, possibly having a guest speaker from the professional level or the collegiate level come on to my show. It's to pave the way for these types of conversations. It's to pave the way to shed some news on some deeper things that people might be missing because they're too focused on what their team is doing, or they don't really keep up with the sports world. But that's really what this is all about. You guys have, again, as of right now, I'm pleased with how the show's going so far. It's only going to get better from here. Again, I always encourage you guys to like and subscribe. It is greatly appreciated. And as always, game never ends here. I'll catch you guys Thursday for episode 6, the Life'sPlaybook podcast. I'll break down the NFL wild card matchups and who I think could win it all, just like I did for the college football playoffs. I'll do the same for the Super Bowl race for the NFL teams. So stay tuned for that. You don't want to miss out on who I think is going to win the big one. With that being said, this has been the first ever Tuesday Talk. That being said, peace out. I'll see you guys Thursday.